What is going on, everyone? We're back again with another video. As you guys know, the trade deadline is becoming very close to being done. August 1st, 6 p.m. Eastern, it will be officially closed. So there's a lot of moves going on that's already happened. There's moves that are going to be going on in the future. So let's just get into the moves that already have happened. So these are all the trades we're going to be talking about in this video. I currently link this doc down below in the description if you guys want to go check this out. It's going to be all the trades that have happened since the start of the deadline, which I would say is the Aroldis Chapman trade, to the end of the deadline. So we're going to be updating this. So I didn't cover a trade. It will be in here if you guys didn't know about it. And then I linked the sources in here as well. We got the buyers on top and the sellers on the bottom. So let's just get in this video. We're going to be covering all these trades you guys see here on screen. Let's start off on July 3rd. We're going to be going back a little bit when the Rangers acquired Aroldis Chapman from the Royals. Now this trade, I think, people kind of maybe forgot about this one a little bit, but I do consider this a part of the trade deadline because it was in July, and that's the month when everything's going to be happening. So I consider this a part of the trade deadline. Pretty good trade, I think, for the Royals overall. They get a left-handed pitcher back and they get an outfielder. So I think this is definitely a worth it trade for them, and he's looked really good. Chapman, I saw him when I was down in Texas. He threw, I think, 102 or 103. So really impressive overall. He's only had his bad start against Houston recently, so not the best for Chapman, but I think it's a solid trade for the Royals. I think that's what they wanted from him, to kind of get rid of him at the deadline, and they get 2 prospects for it. So I think it's pretty worth it for the Royals. Rangers, I think, get a plus bonus for the playoff run that they're trying to make, so I think it works for both teams. Now, this is an interesting one. On July 19th, the Orioles acquired Shintaro Fujinami, I think it's how you pronounce his name, from the A's. Now, this was an interesting trade just because, he's obviously been here the whole season. I think he's had a 7 ERA or 8 ERA, which is obviously, not ideal. But, I guess they see something in him. They only gave up 1 prospect. They gave up their left-handed pitcher, Easton Lucas. So that's who they're giving up. But I think the Orioles might see something in him. But, yeah, it was an interesting kind of trade for me. I did not expect it, to be honest. But, obviously the Orioles are trying to make that playoff run. So we'll see what they end up doing. And the A's, I think they're going to sell again at this deadline. So it'll be pretty interesting to see, what's going on with the A's camp as we get closer to this trade deadline. But Orioles, I think this trade works. Only give up 1 prospect for a guy that they think could potentially help them going forward. I think it makes sense. Now, July 24th, the Braves obviously picked up Pierce Johnson from the Rockies. Now, this was an interesting trade. Obviously, we know a lot of these teams need pitching help, and there's not too many qualified, pitchers out there that, you're not gonna have to give up much for. The Braves end up getting Pierce Johnson. So he's obviously a relief pitcher. He's pitched about 39 innings this season for the Colorado Rockies. So, not terrible overall. He's not a terrible pitcher, I don't think. I mean, it's obviously hard to pitch in Colorado. We already know the situation there. So not the best. He has a 6 ERA right now. So, yeah, definitely not the best. But once again, I think this is another situation where they see something in him. They take away from, the Colorado area and all that good stuff. But, yeah, another interesting trade that we saw over the trade deadline. So the Rockies end up getting Victor Vodnik and Tanner Gordon, 2 right-handed pitchers. So end up picking up 2 guys. I think that they can help them long term. I think it's a pretty decent trade. We'll see what the Braves end up doing with their new pitcher. We'll see how that goes for him. So interesting trade. I'm surprised the Rockies made a move. I got to be honest. Last 2 trade deadlines, I don't think the Rockies have made a move. So glad to see them finally making a move early too. So glad to know they still have a front office. Now, the next big trade, July 25th, Kike Hernandez goes back to the Dodgers from the Red Sox. Now, Kike was obviously on that team when they won the World Series in 2020. He went over to the Dodgers for 2021, 2022, and 2023. Now he's going back to the Dodgers for another postseason run. So we'll see what goes down with him. He's obviously been a pretty solid player his whole career. And obviously, he's been a Dodger before, so that's not new to him. So glad to see him back on that squad. The Red Sox end up getting 2 right-handed pitchers. So they get Nick Robertson and Justin Hageman. I think that's how you to pronounce his name. So they end up taking 2 pitchers for Kike. Pretty worth it trade, I think, for the Red Sox. I mean, I think the Red Sox are, probably sellers. They're kind of in the mix, kind of not. They're like a couple games out of the wild card. But I don't think they're not really going to get in. But who knows? Whoever gets that 6th spot in that wild card is going to be looking good because you're going to have to play the Twins. So you might be feeling kind of solid in that first round. So interesting trade. The Dodgers definitely get a nice piece right there. So another trade that happened July 25th, we have the Marlins pick up Jose Castillo from the Padres for cash. And this was an interesting trade because I didn't really expect this one. I mean, even there was really no rumors about this one. that much, only from a couple sources. So interesting trade for the Marlins. Obviously pick up another pitcher. You know, they love their pitching, so we'll see if that helps them through the stretch. You know, they're obviously, the NL wildcard's a little bit crazy right now. There's like, I think 5 or 6 teams in the mix. So yeah, definitely a little crazy. So definitely gonna need that pitching help for the Marlins. Probably just get back some cash. So not a player, but I don't know how much cash they ended up getting back, but that's what the trade was reported. So pretty interesting trade. So next trade is July 26th. The Mariners get right-handed pitcher Trent Thornton from the Blue Jays. Now, interesting trade. This is definitely, I think, a dub for the Mariners in this situation. It doesn't really make sense for the Blue Jays since they get back a shortstop, Mason McCoy, who's in AAA. But it is a little bit interesting just because, you know, they got Bo Bichette, so it's like I don't really know why they need another shortstop unless they want him to play somewhere else in the infield. And I guess that makes a little bit more sense, or they just need, you know, a filler piece, or they wanted to get rid of him. Not really sure on the Blue Jays side, but makes sense for the Mariners. You know, you ended up getting another right-handed pitcher that works out perfectly. So this trade's definitely dub for that team. Interesting on the Blue Jays. You know, I'm definitely gonna have the. I wish I could hear like a meaning for them on why they would do it, but that's the trade we have as it stands. So as I was editing this video, this trade just happened. The Twins are acquiring Dylan Floro from the Marlins for relief pitcher Jose Lopez. Now, like Ken Rosendahl said, neither of them has had a great season, but the Twins see some potential and more consistency. So interesting trade. It's kind of mixing the trash with trash. They're kind of just getting a new, you know, environment, I think. But a lot of people are saying that Dylan is definitely better than Lopez. So would be interesting why the Marlins would do this trade, to be honest, if they think, you know, that Dylan's better. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't really make much sense. But yeah, maybe a new scenery for both guys will make them perform better. Interesting trade, obviously, you know, AL National or American League and National League. So I think that with the teams, it makes sense like that. Yeah, interesting trade that just popped up on the timeline. So definitely going to put this one on the list. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Go check out the document if you guys want to get some more information. Go check out all the other videos on the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.